Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
It's time for the Lithia Ford of Boise Postgame Show from Bronco Nation News. We're breaking down the game with highlights, interviews, analysis, and most importantly, you. Give your thoughts on the game in the YouTube chat or Facebook comments, and we'll include the best ones on the show. Check out LithiaFordBoise.com to view their full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. Now let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise Postgame Show from Bronco Nation News.
Well, how's it going, Boise State fans? Hope you can hear me okay. Dealing with some technical difficulties here. Boise State falls in overtime, 81-79. Let us know if you can hear it. We got all kinds of stuff to get to. There was apparently a skirmish at halftime up by the locker room. Leon Rice saying it got physical. And with the baseball team from New Mexico standing outside their locker room. So we'll get into that. We've got the full quotes from Leon Rice talking about that. We'll play that as well. And we've got the highlights of the last couple of plays, which I'm sure most of you probably don't want to see. But the last three plays were plays. We'll play them, I guess. Tyson Degenhart with the three to tie the game. It was an unbelievable play. Down by 4.1 seconds left at the end of regulation. Max Rice, great play here, gets it into Najee Smith before they can foul him. He gets it to Degenhart, and he hits the three to tie the game. Unbelievable play there. You see that when the ball got inbounded, I'm going to pause it here. So when Najee Smith catches the ball, he had to hurry up before they would foul him. You see Degenhart setting the screen. Two guys go with Shaver here. It leaves Degenhart wide open. And they said that was a play they had in their arsenal. Just hadn't used it to this point, hadn't needed it. So huge shot there. Then now here, Boise State is down again by three in overtime with 20 on the shot clock. They get the ball in. They get it to Tyson Degenhart eventually. And he drives, gets the bucket and the foul, and gets it to go. And that ties the game right there. But on the final play, there was apparently a miscommunication. Tyson Degenhart heard switch. He was not supposed to switch and left his man there for the layup with 2.6 seconds left. And again, right under the basket, the last thing you want to be doing is leaving the basket wide open. And Degenhart's man gets beat and they score. But nice chance here, nice half there. Boise State gets in a decent position. Marcus Shaver gets off a pretty, good look from distance at least, but the shot does not fall. And Boise State, there's the bucket again. And given the fact they had 2.6 seconds left, you couldn't have asked for a much better shot there. And then there's the shot at the buzzer, and it misses, and Boise State falls. So a tough one for Boise State as they fall again, 81-79. We're going to hear from Tyson Degenhart. We're going to hear from a very frustrated Leon Rice, not with the game, but with what happened up at halftime with the baseball team apparently standing out, lining their locker room hallway and kind of jawing at the players as they were walking by, and apparently wasn't good with what happened there. So what a game for Tyson Degenhart. He had 28 points. He had 17 points for Max Rice, 10 points for Marcus Shaver Jr., but this was the Tyson Degenhart game, and he did all he could, man, to try to will them to a win. Had some great plays down the stretch, but was just unable to, they just couldn't get over the hump, and they tied it up twice, and even had a chance there earlier before he hit that shot earlier when he drove and missed a shot that would have given him the lead. But he had a heck of a game, 28 points. What can you say about Tyson? And battled, and they just, unfortunately leave here with an overtime loss. So it's a very tough loss. We'll see what it does to the numbers. Probably not much. They didn't move a single spot at Ken Palm. They stayed at 24. So the loss really didn't do much of anything. But it does knock you out of first place and now puts you at 15-5. So, you do have some home games coming up, Fresno State, Colorado State, chance to get back on track, and then Air Force on the road. So you could still be 18-5 and 8-2 in conference going down to San Diego on February 3rd for another big game. So, but this was a quad one game, and they were not able to, get it done. So certainly, a tough one for Boise State. And like I said, it's not really going to hurt them, but they need these quad one wins when they can get them. So it really would have helped them if they could have found a way to win this one. Kurt Blake asking about the baseball team. Let me see if I can cue up the Leon Rice part about the baseball team first. Let's try to find Leon Rice post game. I'll try to cue it up on the baseball team part.
So sometimes about 3, kind of got physical a little bit. About 3 clutch and terrific. So.
What did you make of the atmosphere tonight? I mean, it's as loud as a building I've heard in a while.
I mean, I love this race. These fans are terrific. It's just a joy to coach here, and it's a joy to do battle. The only thing, they had an administration flaw. Their baseball team, we had to run through their baseball team, and it was, kind of got physical a little bit. And I've coached for 35 years, and that was one of the worst kind of situations that we've been in halftime. And that needs to be addressed by the Mountain West. I mean, we're not lining up our football team and making the team run through them. And
they did it on purpose?
Yeah, they did it on purpose. And now the administration apologized, and great, but that could have been a riot up here at halftime. We had to run through the baseball team, and they were in our face, and I had to get our team through as quick as we can. It was so poorly handled that I'm really, really disappointed in, that something like that goes on. I've coached, like I said, 35 years, and I've never had that. Never had to do something like that, where you're coming out of your locker room and you're having to run through 30 guys that are in your face.
They're standing right there?
Yeah, they're on both sides of this hallway. I mean, it was really, really
pushing and shoving.
Yeah, I mean, they were in our face yelling, and and it was about, if I didn't have, I've had some guys over the years that would end in a brawl, and we should not be put in those positions during a game. It is as bad of game management as I've ever been associated with or seen or had to go through, and the league needs to do something about that, and, big time, because you can't just, apologize. Well, what if a brawl started right here? And it could have, and, I was trying to get everybody through and get, but it was really, really poorly handled by the New Mexico administration, and they apologized for it. But an apology doesn't help if there's a brawl. And we are really lucky that there wasn't a big brawl when you're put in those kind of circumstances, because that shouldn't happen. You should have the safety of your own team should be not a concern when you're coming out and you're a foot out of your locker room. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen on a road trip.
Can I ask one more about the game?
We'll get back to his comments about the game here in a little bit, but there you go. Apparently the baseball team who was being honored at halftime had come back up the locker room. I don't know if they're waiting to go up the steps or what, but they lined the tunnel, and it's a pretty thin hallway, and they apparently lined both sides of it. And there was, looked like it sounded like it got a little physical there. So we did ask the administration from New Mexico if they wanted to make a statement. They did not. They said that they didn't know what happened, and they wouldn't have an official statement on it. But obviously something happened that shouldn't have. So, that doesn't really matter when it comes to the final score of the game, 81-79. And just a heartbreak of a game for Boise State. So we'll take your comments, probably be a little shorter show tonight since it's 12:20 at night and everyone's probably not in the best of moods after that one. So probably won't go an hour tonight like we have for most of these games. It's just a heartbreaker for Boise State. I mean, you think about that. If you win that game, you're in the top 25 and you're, ranked on Monday and you're, probably getting a lot of national attention. And it sucks that that's how it works, but you lose the game, even though it's by 2 points in overtime, you're not going to be ranked, and, it is what it is. So I'll be curious in the net ranking, how far they fall. I wouldn't think much, if at all, but we'll see. Love this team and the fight they showed tonight. Not the end result that we wanted, but it wasn't for a lack of effort. Battled tonight till the very end. Tough loss to swallow, but a last-second overtime loss in that environment doesn't quite feel so bad. I will say this, Sam. That was in my 10 years covering Boise State basketball, that's got to be top 3 and maybe number 1 in terms of the loudest I've ever heard a road environment for Boise State. Tyson Degenhart said it was his loudest in 2 years. You got one of the Viejas games, and they were ranked really high. You had Colorado State last year at the end of the year. There's been a couple, but and I'm sure there's some I'm forgetting from way back. But in the 10 years, I can't think of a lot louder environments than what it was tonight. It was absolutely crazy, and it's gonna, it'll help Boise State because they won't have anything like that crazy the rest of the season. So. It was an electric atmosphere. Kurt says great game by both teams. Excellent call to tie it up. Yes, it was. You got to hit some more shots. What a great game. Hard-fought game. Hopefully we blow them out like we did at Nevada. I guess you're talking about when they come back to Boise in a couple weeks. They just couldn't make any stops. I mean, down the stretch, those 2 guards, Mashburn and House, I mean, my goodness. I think they ended regulation. New Mexico did, making 12 of their last 16 shots. And it was just a lot of mid-range pull-ups. They were just pulling up from mid-range, and there was really nothing Boise State could do to stop them. So that was the frustrating part for Boise State, is they just could not make any stops on defense down the stretch. And that really is what hurt them, because, you make them miss 1 or 2 or more of those shots and you might win the game. But House and Mashburn, and some of them were pretty contested shots. I mean, those guys are what did Mashburn finished with 25 points. Jalen House had 16, and Morris Udezi, the big guy in the middle, had 15. I thought he was big for them. That's the reason New Mexico is why they are this year. They have the big guy now, which they didn't have previously. Road wins are hard to come by in the Mountain West. Oh, they certainly are. And I mean, I hate to be that guy, but the officiating certainly didn't help tonight. I certainly think they were intimidated by the crowd a little bit. And I saw one time where Tyson Degenhart, I think it was Tyson, took a fall backwards. It should have been a charge. Randy McCall started to blow his whistle and then didn't and let it go, and ended up being a basket pretty shortly after for New Mexico. I didn't think that the referees had a particularly great game. I do 100% think they were influenced by this crowd. And if you're a Boise State fan, you can have this at Extra Mile Arena. I mean, there's no reason why Extra Mile Arena can't be this loud, and you can get those calls if you're so loud in every single basket, every single play. I mean, they were standing a good majority of the game. I mean, it was an electric atmosphere, and I truly do think that, impacted the outcome of this game. There were a lot of calls that I thought were not called or were called because of the crowd. And so I thought that the crowd was great tonight. Huge crowd. Awesome. Give them a lot of credit. And I don't think the referees had a particularly great game, and I think that the crowd had something to do with that. There were a lot of questionable calls. You can let me know which one you thought was the worst. They called a flop. They called a few different things. There was one where Marcus Shaver Jr. just went flying to the ground, and they called nothing. I mean, it's got to be a flop or a block or a charge. It's got to be something. And then same with Tyson Degenhart, where the guy, I think, ended up dunking one. So Jolene says need to be some consequences for the Mountain West. This is Bronco Nation News, man. You're picking against the team you're making money off of. Hey, man, I just said I had a bad feeling about the game. I mean, but I also had a bad feeling at Wyoming, and they won that game by 20 points. So I just knew what they were up against in this atmosphere and this crowd, and I just thought it was going to be a tough one for them to win. So it has nothing to do with not wanting them to win or anything like that. I just had a bad feeling about the game for them, and it turned out to be true, but not in the way I thought. I mean, that was just a heck of a game. I did say at the end, I did change my pick to BSU. I said 73-70. I had a bad feeling about it, but on the show, and I just said, you know what, I'll take 73-70. But I did have a bad feeling about it going in. Back-to-back turnovers to start overtime. Yeah, and they're both by Mo Silla. He had one turnover and then had an offensive foul for an illegal screen. I guess he was in the game because Degenhart had 4 fouls, and they were trying to limit his time a little bit in overtime. But Mo Silla starting overtime, I mean, for as good as he played, 11 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds. I thought he did some good things, but that did not help starting Mo Silla in overtime and having him have 2 turnovers pretty much right off the bat. I didn't think that obviously really hurt him. Leon Rice drawing up play at the end of regulation was genius. I think that was a Tim Duryea special, and Leon was involved in it because they've had it drawn up before, but I think it might have been Duryea. Makes me sick about the baseball team. Obvious the conference won't do anything about it, though. Boise's hated for being successful. Interesting choice of the game to start giving Silla more minutes. This is a good point here, too, that I didn't notice. The free throws, how do we go to the line 8 times in a physical game like that? Hopefully you're on the plus 2.5, Jake, then you would have covered by a half a point there. As Patsy says, they covered the spread. How does that impact the ratings, if at all? I don't think it will. Like I said, they didn't move in KenPom. They stayed 24. But the free throw numbers were 9 of 14 for New Mexico, 6 of 8 for Boise State. One area that really hurt Boise State was they, and again, only getting to the line 8 times, but they only made 5 threes. They were 5 of 24 from downtown. That obviously is not going to cut it most nights. They were like 2 of 17 at one point, so just didn't hit enough threes. Chibuzo Abo had, one of his poorer games. He was 2 of 10 from the field. And so 0 of 3 from 3. So he only had 5 points. Najee Smith only had 8 points. And then I give Kobe Young credit, man. The dude was, letting it fly, but I'm not sure if like a minute to go in overtime or regulation, whenever it was, you need Kobe Young. I know he banked one in, but then he was trying the heat check and he kind of took an ill-advised 3, I thought, on the next possession down the floor. Way to go for calling out the BS during halftime. One year at Thomas and Mack, a New Mexico fan pushed an elderly San Diego State fan down the stairs during the tournament. Oh, wow. That's not good. Classic Randy McCall. What a hard-fought game in the pit. Jen says too many bad calls, really sad. Hate the officials consistently changing how the game was played. Long durations of the game, they allowed very physical play, and they would call tacky hand check calls. Everyone's a Lobo. Woof, woof, woof. Looks like this must be a New Mexico fan that infiltrated our show here. Let's make sure we show up our guys for the remaining home games. Like I said, the crowd definitely made a difference tonight. And if you had that kind of crowd in Extra Mile Arena, you would be getting those as well. So, I know you've had some big crowds, but Extra Mile Arena hasn't had what this had tonight. So, if you pack the place, you'll get the calls too. It is what it is. So, let's hear from Leon Rice. And again, the quick numbers for Boise State, 28 for Tyson Degenhart, 10 for Marcus Shaver Jr., 17 for Max Rice, 8 for Najee Smith, 5 for Chibuzo Abo, 2 for Jace Whiting, and 4 for Mo Silla. And again, Jamal Mashburn Jr. had 25. You had House with 16 and Udezi with 15. And then Donovan Dent had 10. KJ Jenkins had 5. He had a couple big buckets as well. Just one of those games came down to the wire, and they made the last shot, and Boise State didn't, and you lose in overtime, and it's a heartbreaker. But it's a long season; it won't really hurt you in the computer numbers, and you do get New Mexico to have to come back to Boise State here in a couple weeks. We're going to hear from Leon Rice, but first, I want to tell you about a couple of our great sponsors: Cutwater Spirits, more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can find one at your local gas station or grocery store. Ropaint.com. 15% off using that promo code BNN15. That's right. The promo code is BNN15, and you get 15% off the interior painting of your home on that next project. So make sure you check them out at roepaint.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, one of our great sponsors here at Bronco Nation News. A love of community and the sports that bring us together. That's why Lithia Ford of Boise is the official sponsor of Bronco Athletics and proud to be part of Bronco Nation News. But no matter what team colors you wear, Lithia Ford wants you to know you're welcome here. And, of course, Idaho Central Credit Union as well. More than 500,000 folks have made the switch to ICCU. You can get more information at ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much at every corner. And, again, you go in once and sign up, and you never have to go back. You can do all the check depositing, the mobile banking, all that stuff right from the comfort of your smartphone or your computer. So ICCU.com, make the switch today. We got some more comments rolling in here. I was surprised Kobe Young hit that first 3. Do we know what's up with Nganga? I think he's just getting closer, and Leon just didn't feel like in a game like this he could put him in there. I mean, whose minutes would he have taken? I guess Kobe Young's, but they needed his defense in there. The bank shot was nice. I don't know what's going on with Nganga. I just don't think he's ready to play in a game like this. He's a freshman. Most of the calls went in the way of New Mexico. I thought they did. Again, I thought it was the final foul calls were 18-12. New Mexico got called for 12. Boise State got called for 18. But I just thought that there were some ticky-tack ones. And I just, again, I'm not saying the referees lost Boise State this game. I'm not saying that. It was Boise State had plenty of chances, but I thought there were some critical calls that went against Boise State, and it just seemed like the whistle was a little one-sided tonight, but that does happen on the road when you're at a place like the Pit. So let's hear from Leon Rice, the Boise State head coach, after the game.
Heck of a game.
Great game. Great college basketball game. Hats off to New Mexico. I mean, those were two great teams, I thought, because my team impressed me so much, as far as how tough we were, how we responded to a lot of adversity. I was so impressed with our guys and the toughness that we showed, and, you hate to end it that way, but our guys just battled their hearts out and made big play after big play after big play, and so did New Mexico. I mean, those guys are shot makers and terrific, but I say that, and then it was a 2-point game, and we have Shaver with the 3 at the end. That would have been the fitting way to run out of here, but somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, and two great teams, I think, and crazy atmosphere, great atmosphere, and that was just amazing college basketball battle.
Can you take us through the last play on the North side?
What do you mean?
Just what kind of happened with your defense? Obviously, you have to account for their guards.
Yeah, but we had them accounted for, and Tyson thought he heard switch, and it was, because we covered that 3 times, But here's the thing: those guys are competing their tails off. It happened. Bullets are flying. It's happening so fast, and I got guys that played 41 minutes, 39 minutes. So, just a little mistake. That would have been a 5 count probably. We were pretty close to that, I thought. Yeah, and we knew that was in the repertoire too, and we talked about it. But like I said, they're out there trying to make plays and make decisions, and he thought he heard switch because usually that guy's screening for some guards, and he just stepped out. And
the Degenhart shot at the end of regulation was almost in some ways like the shot Shaver shot at Fresno State last year, where you just can't believe he got that open. Did Tim drop that play?
Yeah, well, that's something we have in our repertoire, and we thought they would run, again, but it's a credit to those guys having it prepared. First of all, they executed the advance play perfectly, so we got to advance the ball, so now we get on the side, and then we executed the other one perfectly, and you're up against time because when we threw it to Naj, they could foul him. And so he had to get rid of it. He had to, we told him you can't look at it as long as you need to probably look at it. You've got to figure it out. If they go to 2 to Shaver, which we thought they would, Tyson's going to be spot up ready to go. And not credit to all those guys that executed absolutely perfectly. Because it doesn't matter what we draw. You get great. That was a great play. And it was. Coach Durier does an unbelievable job of those last second stuff, and amazing. But the credit goes to those guys for executing it so well. And then we executed for Shaver at 3 at the end. They executed that perfectly, no timeouts. So it's a team that when you address something, they learn. And they're growing. I mean, we were a tough team. There's most teams where they got blown out of here tonight with the atmosphere and all the things we're up against. And yeah, it was crazy.
What can you say about Tyson? Not just that shot, but 28 points, and he kind of took over down the stretch and had some big plays for you. I mean, that was one of the better games of his career.
Yeah, he was amazing, and and that. There's all these little things that happen through the game, and you're trying to get him a sub, and you're trying to not let him get fouled out, and so sometimes you overplay, and so you can imagine what he did when he's that tired. The only thing you and I talked about already is I would have loved to see him pull that 3 at the end of regulation when he drove in to get a 2 when we're down 1, because he'll make those. He's super clutch and terrific. So.
What did you make of the atmosphere tonight? I mean, it's as loud as a building I've heard in a while.
I mean, I love this race. These fans are terrific. It's just a joy to coach here, and it's a joy to do battle. The only thing, they had an administration flaw. Their baseball team, we had to run through their baseball team, and it was kind of got physical a little bit. And I've coached for 35 years, and that was one of the that was one of the worst kind of situations that we've been in halftime. And that needs to be addressed by the Mountain West. I mean, we're not lining up our football team and making the team run through them. And
They did it on purpose?
yeah, they did it on purpose. And now the administration apologized, and great, but that could have been a riot up here at halftime. We had to run through the baseball team, and they were in our face, and I had to get our team through as quick as we can. It was so poorly handled that I'm really, really disappointed in, that something like that goes on. I've coached, like I said, 35 years, and I've never had that. Never had to do something like that, where you're coming out of your locker room and you're having to run through 30 guys that are in your face.
They're standing right there?
Yeah, they're on both sides of this hallway. I mean, it was really, really...
Pushing and shoving?
Yeah, I mean, they were in our face yelling, and and it was about, if I didn't have, I've had some guys over the years that would end in a brawl, and we should not be put in those positions during a game. It is as bad of game management as I've ever been associated with, or seen, or had to go through, and the league needs to do something about that, big time, because you can't just, apologize. Well, what if a brawl started right here? And it could have, and, I was trying to get everybody through and get, but it was really, really poorly handled by the New Mexico administration, and they apologized for it. But an apology doesn't help if there's a brawl. And we are really lucky that there wasn't a big brawl when you're put in those kind of circumstances, because that shouldn't happen. You should have the safety of your own team should be not a concern when you're coming out, when you're a foot out of your locker room. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen on a road trip.
Can I ask one more about the game? Just how are you leaving here? I mean, it was obviously a tough game, but I mean, it was two great teams. It's not like some damaging loss for your season. I mean,
no. It's like I said, I'm so proud of our guys. Our guys competed their tails off against a lot of adversity, and they were terrific. So, just terrific, and couldn't be more proud of our guys. I love this team. I mean, they are special, and maybe one of the toughest teams I've ever coached. And like I said, one of the just above the fray, they just did their jobs and competed, and they all, guys that Mo hasn't played for a while, and I'm so proud of him. He came in and competed, and I could just, like you said, Tyson played all those minutes, and just a terrific game, and Max played 41 minutes, and Shay has been hurt, all that stuff. So I couldn't be more proud of our guys. It was a special, special effort, but you play a great team, somebody's got to win, and that's the hard part of athletics, and they were shot makers. They made great plays. Those guys are really good. I mean, they're not 17-2 by accident or default. Those guys go out, those bigs are so physical and terrific and get after it and play so hard. Their guards are shot makers. They got bench. They got great coaching. They got a great atmosphere. I mean, there's a lot going against you when you play in New Mexico here, and our guys counterpunched every single time. So, like I said, I couldn't be more proud of our guys in our program, and like I said, the way they handled this halftime thing. That could have been a tragedy. It really could have, and I credit my guys for the way they handled it.
Well, there he is, Leon Rice, and talked about it again at the end there about what happened with some of the issues with the baseball team. And again, I asked New Mexico, and they did not want to comment on it. So New Mexico said no comment from the New Mexico administration. So they didn't have enough information. I'm not saying they can, said it was okay. They don't care about it. They just didn't have enough information and didn't see what had happened at the time to be able to comment on it. So Tyson Degenhart met with the media. We can hear from him in a second as well. I want to thank a couple more of our great sponsors here. If you're looking for a new job, how about Transportation Compliance Service? They can help you every step of the way. If you're looking for a new job, they can get out your toe in that first load in no time. Check them out. transcompservice.com is the name of the website, transcompservice.com. And again, they can do all the different things that it takes to get the permits and get out there towing that first load in no time. So check them out, transcomservice.com. If you're looking for a new dentist, how about Boise Dentistry Co.? BoiseDentistryCo.com. That's my dentist, Dr. Miner, does a tremendous job, and you guys should make the switch as well. You will not be disappointed with Dr. Miner to full family dentistry, and you can find a location near you at BoiseDentistryCo.com. United Commercial Insurance, they make business insurance easy, writing business policy insurance in 44 states around the country, including Idaho. So if you're looking in the Boise area, they're looking to bulk up their Treasure Valley accounts. So check them out, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They make business insurance easy. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. And again, we're going to hear from Tyson Degenhart here in just a minute. Shopridleys.com. Go download the new app. Go download the Ridley's app and then take it to the location nearest you. There's 13 of them in Idaho, and they give you some exclusive savings on that app. And they're a big supporter of Bronco Nation News, so make sure you go support Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. The Blue and Orange Store, if you're looking for some Boise State gear, go to the Blue and Orange Store and get it. Free shipping, any order over $40. You can do it online, or you can go into the second floor there at the Boise Town Square Mall next to Pro Image and check it out in person. They got all the NIL deal, all the coaches' sideline apparel, the retro gear. Check it out, theblueandorangestore.com. And Matt Bauscher Real Estate, the number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, Bauscher Real Estate. We're going to give the Bauscher Real Estate player of the game to Tyson Degenhart. 28 points tonight for Tyson. He is our Bauscher Real Estate player of the game. The number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Bauscher Real Estate. Make sure you check him out at bauscherrealestate.com. Let's hear from Tyson Degenhart, and it looks like we do have one New Mexico fan that has made his way into the chat. I apologize for that, but Tyson Degenhart met with the media after the loss. Here's what he had to say.
What are kind of the emotions right now?
Just tough way to go out on a play that we kind of thought would be coming, and just one of those unfortunate breaks that we just need one more play to make this to double it, so we just couldn't get it done.
Coach said maybe you thought you heard switch or something, or
just miscommunication, kind of got all tangled up there, and just the way it happens, and we just got to learn from it and just be ready for Fresno State on Tuesday.
Those are probably two of the best bigs you'll have to go against this season. It seemed like at times Coach was putting you in for offensive possessions and then Mo on defense. What was kind of the strategy going into it?
Towards the end of regular, I had 4 fouls, so
yeah,
there was some offense defense kind of thing just to make sure I wouldn't get a dumb one or anything like that. So just some offense defense kind of thing, and that's just what we did.
Can you take us through that shot at regulation and the play call?
We've had that one in the arsenal since I've gotten here. Just one of those things that we had, and we thought it was a good time to bring it out. And with how Shave has been making clutch shots, we thought there would be a chance where they'd mess up a switch, and that's the way it happened. And I was just happy to put it in.
You had, I think, 2 minutes earlier, you catch the ball in the arc, and it looks like you got a lane, you put it up, and it doesn't go. To get the redemption at the end of regulation, how fulfilling was that?
Felt great because in that moment when you miss that shot, it's you let the team down a little bit, but you just gotta have a short memory as a basketball player, and just get on to the next play.
What was this? Obviously a tough loss, but it's not some damaging loss for your season. How do you? I'm sure this is going to be a tough one for you. How do you guys move past this, or how do you look at this one?
We played really hard, and they're a great team. Credit to them. And, we just got to learn from it and just make a couple more plays, and we're going to win that game.
What are the difficulty of guarding Mashburn and House? It seemed like you guys held them pretty good in the first half, and at times they had space in the second.
They're such dynamic guards with their quickness and their mid-range shots, so you got to kind of pick your poison, and they got going, and it was hard to stop after they got going.
In your 2 years here, is that the loudest road atmosphere you've played in?
Yeah, probably number one, and then two's last year at Colorado State would be the second one.
How do you guys think you handled? You guys kept answering for a good chunk of the game whenever they take the lead or hit a big shot. What do you think of how you guys handled the crowd?
We stayed together really well, and that's something we've been really working on since the Myrtle Beach tournament. And as long as we stay connected in those moments, we can win any game that we're in. So just got to keep learning from it and just get better.
You guys have talked about breathing at times and huddles, but when it feels like the arena is going to burst and you guys are down, how do you, as a leader, kind of collect everyone, and how are you guys able to keep fighting back?
Just take it one possession at a time, because if we were down 5 at one point in overtime, and there's no way you can get 5 points on a possession. So you just gotta get a stop on defense, run a good set on offense, and do the same thing. Just take it one possession at a time. It makes everything a lot easier.
that shot, aside from that shot, you had a lot of big plays down the stretch and in overtime where you just wanted the ball, and obviously at the end wanted to tie it up. I mean, what was it about you just wanted to kind of assert yourself and take over there?
Just had some really good opportunities to attack the rim, and so I did. And when we got some good offensive rebounds, kick out threes, and that's what we've been working on. So it's nice to see a couple shots fall, but ultimately we wanted to get the win.
28 points for Tyson Degenhart, and it's all for naught. That is it.
Heck of a game.
Whoops, sorry about that. We don't need to hear from Leon again. Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal tweeted that I talked to the New Mexico administration. They say it was a mistake having the baseball team in the hall at that point. It was supposed to be after the second half had started, and they did apologize to Leon. Security, who was right there by the locker room, didn't intervene. Trash talking, nothing physical, is what Jeff Grammer says that the administration says from New Mexico. So trash talking, but nothing physical, according to the administration. That the security guards were there, but apparently did not intervene. Not sure why. And then Leon Rice had to basically push to get his players out through the group and out down the tunnel so that there wasn't. And you heard Leon say some players he had in the past, there would have been a brawl. And I can think a few of those that I'm not going to say, but that's something to keep an eye on here moving forward to try to see what. Of course, the Nevada fan base is kind of, the New Mexico fan base is kind of saying that, nothing happened, and the Boise State side is saying it did, and so who really knows at this point. But overall, final score 81-79. Boise State falls in overtime. Tough loss, but they'll be back on Tuesday. Tuesday against Fresno State, I believe it is. Saturday against Colorado State. And so they got a couple big games at home coming up, and they're going to need some big crowds because you saw firsthand what a big crowd can do to influence the officials, influence the players on the court. And I thought that they certainly got some help from the Stripes tonight. There were some calls that went their way, and let's see some other comments here. Mountain West Commissioner needs to get involved. University of New Mexico needs to be held responsible for things that took place after the game. Bad spot to put the student athletes in. It was actually at halftime. So it's the same thing. But apparently the referees were the halftime security too. They didn't step in and do anything. That's funny, Jordan. Let's see. Time to rock the pavilion. Not the other name on Tuesday. Guys, just ignore this Growing Greens guy. He's not worth it, but we are going to go ahead and get out of here. It's almost 1 a.m, and I still haven't even started writing my story. And it's been a long day flying down here at 8 o'clock from Albuquerque without a nap. So back to Boise tomorrow. Tough one for Boise State. Appreciate you guys. We did have somebody. I'll see if I can find his name real quick. We had 2 today. We had 1 renewal, Jolene Olson. We appreciate you. Thank you. And then Wendy Peterson and Anthony Ulbrich both signed up for $70 subscriptions today. So I will be emailing Anthony and Wendy. We appreciate you for your new subscriptions, and we will be sending you a T-shirt from Bronco Nation News and a $25 gift card to the Blue and Orange store. So thank you for signing up tonight. And that $140 helps cover some of the travel costs and things for the trip. So appreciate Anthony and Wendy for signing up. And for the Olsons as well for signing up for their renewal for year 2. So thank you guys. A tough one for Boise State. Sorry that's all you guys are going to bed after a loss, but just a back and forth battle. We'll see what the net rankings say tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Why did Keith Bonifal leave? We'll talk about that on Monday with John Mallory. I'm not really going to get into that tonight. I don't really know yet and have enough to say. I've been focusing on basketball today, but I was a little surprised to hear that, and I will be curious to see how much money he gets as a raise. Wise Guys, yeah, is that tomorrow? That's the NIL deals for Taylon Green and Ashton Genty at Wise Guys tomorrow. Go check that out. I believe it's at 1 o'clock. That's right, 1 to 3 for Genty and Green at Wise Guys. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. We're going to wrap it up here, and we had record viewership, pretty good viewership for it being 12:49 at night. But appreciate all of you. Sorry it wasn't a happier post-game show. But a heck of a game from Tyson Degenhart, 28 points, but wasn't enough. Boise State falls in overtime to New Mexico. Thanks to Lithia, Ford of Boise, ropaint.com, ICCU, all of our great sponsors, TCS, the Blue and Orange Store, our major sponsors, Cutwater Spirits, all of our great sponsors, Boise Dentistry Co., Ridley's Family Markets, Bauscher Real Estate, and United Commercial Insurance. We have links to all their sites on our site. Just click on the sponsors tab at the top and then get more information on all of our great sponsors. So appreciate you guys. Going to try to get to work on a story here and figure out what to write after that one. I felt bad for Jordan Kay, man, and that's one of the reasons, one of many, that I decided to leave the paper was the stress of writing on deadline. And I was watching Jordan freak out during that game trying to write a story, and I was thankful that wasn't me anymore. So I've had a little more time to think about it, and now I'll try to put a story together myself, and may even head over to Waffle House to take a break here and get some Waffle House in Albuquerque, and then head back to finish working up. So thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your night. Thankfully, it's only Friday, so you still get Saturday and Sunday for the weekend. It feels like a Saturday night, but you get 2 days still. And we'll talk to you back from Boise on Monday morning. Appreciate everybody. Guy says you're the man. Appreciate you, Guy. Rock Chalk. Big one for KU tomorrow against TCU. So everybody have a good night. We'll talk to you, I guess, Monday with John Mallory, but I'll have a story up, and I'll be on social media and stuff over the weekend. So NFL playoffs the next 2 days. Enjoy that. But have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you later. Boise State falls in overtime, 81-79. This has been the Lithia Ford Boise postgame show. BJ Rains signing out from Albuquerque for Bronco Nation.